2019. I'd like to take a motion to close the executive session where we discuss legal issues and reopen the public meeting. Trustee Mazzillo, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? 5-0. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Trustee Nell.
I just wanted to take a minute and everybody pause to recognize all our veterans that we recognized on Monday and for their service to our country.
Thank you, Trustee. I'll have to apologize. Our network, I guess, is down today, so we're actually taping the meeting by phone here. Is that streaming live, Jennifer?
No, but it could be.
So we definitely have to be careful what we say.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going live. Okay. Do I need to take a motion to open up this public hearing?
Yes.
So I'll take a motion to open up the public hearing for the renewal of the franchise for Cablevision of Southern Westchester in the village of Dobbs Ferry. And we'll consider a resolution authorizing the village to renew a cable franchise agreement with Cablevision. Now this, I think we addressed at our last meeting. And
it was a couple meetings ago.
Yeah,
ago. But more grant money has become available,
Yeah.
so it was renoticed appropriately, and now we'll have a second hearing.
So is there anybody that would like to?
The motion.
So we'll open the public hearing. Trustee Nell, second. Trustee Mazzillo, all in favor? Is there anybody that's here that would like to address the board regarding our Cablevision agreement? Any of the trustees have any?
Mayor, if you want to know what the agreement is about, and I'll just repeat it from the last meeting. It has a 10-year effective date from the date when it's given to the Public Service Commission. It has 5% annual income, which is the same. However, the PEG grants, which is the grants that they give us, is for $88,433, which is about 5 or 8 times the amount that we had before. And also there is a $125,000 grant for the Embassy Center in materials that they're going to give them, like the hookups, etc. They're also going to give them a flat $10,000 grant. But this has to go to the PSC for approval. And once we have the certification of this public hearing, we can send it to them and they will go forth.
So that's great. So we have these grants and probably can use that money to upgrade the system here.
Exactly, it comes at a
Perfect timing for this.
Oh, we have that Jen, a new iPhone.
Yes. Any comments, questions? Okay. So I'll take a motion to close the public hearing. Deputy Mayor Cassell, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? Okay, so I need a motion to approve the resolution. Trustee Taylor, Trustee Nell, all in favor? 5-0. So we have a presentation tonight with Ed Manley, our building inspector, and Paul Petretti, our engineer that have worked on the project, the steps from Palisade coming up Cedar to Main Street. Everything's out of hand.
Yeah, we had 2 power outages today also.
Not everything.
Yeah.
Hello. So you asked me to come in and give you an update on the Cedar date, we are complete with the steps and the walkways. And we're hoping to pour the aprons between the curb and the stairs and the sidewalks, and the other side, all the fill-in spots next to the houses, starting Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, if the weather comes up 40 degrees and rising, we can pour the concrete.
We're expecting that.
Do the railings go in at the same time?
No, the railings are being manufactured right now, so they should be, how long are we out on the railings?
Probably about 3 weeks out.
3 weeks. So, we have, some areas there were some questions on. Around Palisade to the bend, I think we put in the same number of steps all along there. And going up in front of 87, though they're configured 2, 2, and 2 instead of 3 and 3, it's the same number of steps. In front of 83, which was the biggest problem with trying to match the grades, the driveway, the steps, and all that, we ended up adding 2 steps. So we're 2 steps there originally, now there are 4. Up top, at the corner of Main, is the same 2. So, our engineer and contractor worked pretty diligently here to get all the grades worked right. So, I went out there today to see it in the rain, as I've been overseeing it as much as I could. And everything seems to be flowing in the right direction. We've got the all the pitches going downhill and away from the buildings towards the street. We put in new drains for people's roof leaders to get them out to the street and not near their foundations. Down at the bottom here, we put in which is yet to be completed, there'll be an area drain because that'll be the only spot where the water coming down the hill will hit a wall. If you've seen that flat portion that makes the turn onto Palisade Street, it would be hard to bring that pour next to the building up to the height of the steps. So we put a drain in there that would just catch all that water once we pour the concrete there and take it right out to the street. So the only place that is back pitched, and most people are probably wondering why, is up at Main Street, where it came up and met the right elevations, but Main Street, that corner is not poured right. So Paul spoke with Han Engineering, who's overseeing the project for Main Street, and they came up with the only thing to do was to meet Main Street's curb, sidewalk at that curb there, and then have it fixed and leveled out when the Main Street project takes place. So we didn't want to leave this too low, and we didn't want to create a tripping hazard. So as we get to the top step there, it pitches down towards Main Street, back, but still all of it pitches towards the street, so all the water flows towards the street. So that will be corrected when Main Street gets going. Like I said, the portions between the sidewalks and the curb will be a red brick stamped concrete. The portions between the stairs and the buildings, the houses, will just be gray concrete. That's about it. Any questions?
On this plan, so the only difference is that one spot where it went from 2 stairs to 4? from the
There's
original?
some different configurations of number of stairs, but the only difference from plan from number of stairs was in front of 83, where we went from 2 to 4.
And the pitch of the stairs. I know visually it looks different than what it is. Can you-
Right, many people have commented on that one right in front of 83. Yeah, but I've put a 4-foot level on it twice now. It's pitching downhill. It's an optical illusion because this sidewalk comes down pretty fast and then this levels out with just, a 1/8-inch bubble pitching down. So when you look at it from the side, it kind of looks like it's going the wrong way, but it's not.
And the water is flowing. correct?
Water is flowing.
There were a number of issues that were raised at the previous meeting, such as Mr. Tulos, I believe, was concerned about underneath his steps.
Yeah, there's a concrete slab underneath his steps that's cracked. And as we had a crew out there forming the bottom wall by your driveway today, and when that gets poured, it's gonna pour up to the top of that form, if you built it that way, or there's a line there, and come all the way back to 3/4 of the way up under your steps, covering all that cracked slab.
So you're gonna do that slab then? Gonna redo it?
We're not gonna take it out, we're just gonna pour over it.
Skim coat.
It's more than the skin, it's
Right,
good,
right.
good thickness, but it's gonna cover up all that, make it look nice.
Okay. The only other question I can talk from here or what?
Why don't you come up to the mic, Joe? Just state your name and address.
Joe Toll, 3900 Dell Road in Horsley. The only other question I have, the pictures that we took, and you're talking about the rain coming down, and some of the rain does come underneath the porch. So what I was gonna suggest, if you go from both of those concrete brick columns, if you put like a 2x4 form there and raise everything high so the water be diverted out back into the street. Instead of when you pour
You're
that.
saying that it's flowing
Yeah,
under your
if you
steps?
see the pictures, you can see the water coming down.
Okay, so anything that goes under there is then gonna continue down the new pour,
Right, right.
and
So,
now,
yeah, so if you put a 2x4 or 2x3, whatever, a couple inches high, between the two brick
Mhm.
columns, that would keep the water from going further underneath the porch.
we'll have to look at that frame, right?
Yeah, you can,
Yeah.
you
Sure, I
pitch,
showed
or
you
pitch the
pictures,
concrete,
what the
Okay.
pictures are.
you pitch the concrete up and it will go in.
We get the concrete pour and come up and do that.
Okay. When you doing that?
We're gonna,
As soon as the
we
weather-
started framing today for that pour, and we're gonna be doing it at the end of this week, hopefully, temperature permitting.
Okay, good. All right. I want to talk to you about the fence too. Will we do that?
What
The
that is.
railing rather?
Okay, you wanna ask the question now?
Yeah. Are the railings gonna, how close to the road are they gonna be? 'Cause I just checked my car door, someone parks going up the street, they open the door, it's like a 3-foot.
Yeah, we kept the railings back onto the steps, and that apron between the steps and the curb is a free open
So it's gonna be
space.
more than 3 feet? Because when
It's-
you open the car
I think it's more
door.
like 2 feet.
Yeah. All right, so you can hit the car, you can hit the fence when you open the door.
If you swing it all the way open,
Yeah, person
Yeah,
might
like-
have a hard time getting out of the car.
I think there's room, but,
Wow.
if it's somebody who's disabled or something, you might
Yeah,
need
and my
to
wife is-
let them out somewhere else.
Okay, that was one of the main things that was. Okay, that was it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And there's also a question about Mr. Bruce Richards. He had a couple of issues, dealing with, I believe, the stucco. And his window.
So the window that was boarded up,
I boarded it up, yeah.
right, so we're having the people fill that in for you, brick it in and stucco it.
I was assuming that would be done before the pour of the sidewalk was done, because now the window is half filled in with cement. And I've got 2 layers of plywood on it to try to protect it. And I don't know how you're gonna get the plywood out to access it, to put the bricks in. It sounds like a great idea, but you're gonna have to come in from the inside out. We can take the window out from go in the basement and fill that in. If that's the plan, that would be great. But I was assuming.
If that's the
that
only
would
way
be-
to get to it, then we
No,
appreciate you letting us in the basement. We'll take a look at it.
I was out of town when the pour happened, but when we started this project, we talked about whether it be glass brick or filled in. We both decided that by filling it in, that would.
Like both you and Paul?
Yes, sir. That to just make it disappear would be the better thing. And so, but then after that happened, the mason came and said he could not be held accountable if it didn't look right. And
I think he was talking about the color, the shade.
well, the color, I mean, yeah, because on the first day, the bluestone got broken at the door. Once we finally assessed whose fault it was, the stone got replaced, and now there's a big swatch of gray concrete, of stucco underneath that now. And so therefore, I'm assuming that that's a finished job, and now is that not the finished job?
No, there's gonna be stucco work patch going on.
You got the
Okay.
rest
That's
of it.
always been intended.
Okay, I'm not questioning intentions, I'm just, the finish, I'm living with something that I'm assuming was done because the cut retaining wall in back, which we did bluestone on the decking to match the old sidewalk. It was determined by the guys when they were doing it that they decided they'd rather have a straight line. This new sidewalk would be a straight line, which then left a gap between the new sidewalk line and the cut bluestone. So then one of them came back with mortar and kind of daubed that in. So now you've got.
The bluestone you're referring to is at the
Line
sill of
bluestone
your
on
side
that-
door?
Yeah, there's about a 4-foot retaining wall there of cut, it's stone from Dobbs Ferry High School. And so, you know, I took the effort to cut that bluestone to fit the old sidewalk. I mean, if the old sidewalk was not perfectly straight, let's say. And so there was sort of an arc that goes from 0 to about 2 inches and then comes back to 0. The new sidewalk goes straight, so then you have this sort of crescent shape, which then they came back and sort of daubed stuff in it. And why they didn't just pour to the existing curve was kind of a mystery to me, because all of a sudden you've got more time and labor and materials now, that if that would have been done in the first place, it would look like the job would look finished as opposed to repaired.
I'm gonna have to meet you out there and look at that because.
I would be happy to do that. I'm not trying to get, I mean, I don't doubt any of the intentions,
Mhm.
but it's just some of the practices I'm questioning, because I'm gonna end up with it.
Let's
And-
meet and, just email me with some appropriate times you have. And
Yeah,
I'll meet you out there and we'll take a look at it. and
no,
discuss it.
because we can resolve it, because I get real nervous on that building.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Anything
okay,
else?
you wanted to speak about the embassy also?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I have one quick question about this. Is there any, huh?
So,
No. So for the brick, the red stamped brick concrete on the edge, is there any way to get any greenery involved here, or is it am I like too late to do?
I don't know where we would do it, Ed, Paul?
I mean, right now it's just empty between the stair and the curb.
I haven't seen any trees.
Not trees, just like.
It's not practical.
Is that practical?
It's not really.
Okay, just checking.
Because most of them, I believe most of the residents on the street there, were concerned about maintenance
Got it.
and not having to go out and cut a little patch of grass, am I right?
Do
So,
like flowers.
what we did is we opted for a stamped concrete instead of the bricks that you have along Main Street.
Mhm.
Because they freeze thaw, lifts them up, and
You
then
gotta-
vegetation grows through it, okay?
If that's the
And
only greenery we'd say.
And also, if it's gonna be the red stamped brick concrete, and we haven't decided what it is for Main Street yet, or have we, and I missed it?
I believe we decided,
It's gonna be red
Yeah.
stamped concrete on Main Street too? Okay, cool.
So let's, any other questions? Let's talk about the embassy.
Well, Ed has been doing a yeoman's job on the embassy center. It seems that, we had a little trouble with the contractors had a little trouble with the roof. One, they didn't put it up on the addition, and second, the roofing that was done, it leaks, and it didn't the embassy center, so there was quite a bit of damage. Ed has been working with the contractors, and we are meeting with George tomorrow to discuss certain elements of the punch list, basically. So I think he can talk to it from there.
Yeah, so there was a little water damage because the roofer left a portion unfinished between the southernmost existing roof and the new addition. So the brickies were still putting up block on there, so they decided they couldn't wait. They went to another job, and the GC didn't part the roof correctly. So we get the call that it's water coming in there. So we got them to open up all of the wet spots. We got dehumidifiers and large fans to move the air in there right away. So pulling out any wet insulation and replacement of sheetrock that had mold on it, and this is all at the contractor's expense because he left the roof open. So went back there, we got him to tarp the roof right, and now it's holding. And the roofer is supposed to be back tomorrow, and hopefully he stays till he finishes.
Rolly is putting them on notice that this is not acceptable progress by letter, which will go out probably tomorrow.
Yeah, their sequence of events, you know, they got a little ahead of themselves with the sheetrock before the roof should have been watertight before sheetrock. But the other things that are going on right now is the gas work. So Con Ed has come out and put in a new gas line. The plumbing contractor has to bring the gas lines through the building out to meet the new service point, and then Con Ed will set the new meters. So at this moment, the Embassy Club still has gas and heat, and we're trying to push the plumber as fast as possible to get the heat into the new portions, because they're going to be using temporary space heaters to keep everything sound until then. The radiant floor in the gym room is starting. Yep, they patched the subfloor. The material for the radiant floor is coming tomorrow, and they should be starting that.
And the roof started.
And the roof. So that's what we're pushing for right now. So our priorities are watertight roof and heat. So then the third priority would be, getting the windows all sealed in and that brick in the front done. And then before we have them patch any sheetrock, that they opened up, we'll have somebody come in and test for dampness and for mold, make sure everything's clean in there.
Ed really likes climbing on the roof. You did a good job in the park.
Good view from up here.
And I didn't throw anything on.
So we're still weeks away from weeks away from those?
Last year I predicted that this would be done the end of 19, but I wouldn't say that today. So we're a few weeks away. But once they get that floor in the gym, most of the existing portion is completed, except for the patching. So they get the heat working and everything. We could conceivably, by the end of the year, open up that existing portion and then finish the addition through the back door, and we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping we can do that. But there's still some work outside at the entrance to be completed. questions.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have courtesy of the floor. Anybody like to address the board? Please. State your name and address.
Bruce Richards, 153 Main. The project has been sort of, I appreciate the explanation tonight, but my bubble is different than Ed's. And if you want to, I mean, I've been sending photographs, but along the bottom edge or the edge of where the stucco had been removed, the old sidewalk was a little higher at the building than it is now. And the curb is higher than it was before. So before it sloped from my building out. Now, as far as my bubble routes, it's level. It obviously goes downhill, but it doesn't drain from that house towards the street. And that's a problem. The problem at Cedar and Main on the corner, I've got all this stuff written down, but I don't want to repeat what just happened. I mean, we agreed to do that because that 9-foot platform, we were asked to do this 9-foot platform that comes around the corner. And I thought, as a courtesy to the village, that would be a good idea because that's a bus stop. And therefore, that would give a better, more adequate place for the students and their parents to wait in the morning for the bus. And I assumed the window would get fixed before, but it didn't. But what happened was, the stair cord, which happened first, the stairs got kicked up a little bit. That's what caused this now meeting of, now this is high, so it comes low, and then one at Main Street comes from above. And that's what's causing this drainage ditch, which is about 1.5 inches. My concern is, in the winter, by the fact that this is flat, it's a black ice area. The problem with that building is, you've got the sun that comes up from the east, obviously, and sort of melts the ice on, melts the whatever snow that's on Main Street, and it used to just start running down the hill. Now, it's gonna run down and sort of hit that platform, which is level, and now I've got a 9-foot by whatever foot, I've got about 80 feet of black ice. And then there's a step there that is a foot. Once that gets covered with snow, you're not gonna see a foot. And in retrospect, I don't know why all of a sudden we needed that stair at all, because all the way through the project, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So we've added, I mean, other than the stairs at Palisade and Cedar, those were absolutely necessary. But the stairs at Cedar, at 83 and on my place, now that they're there, I mean, you try to walk up the hill, they become hurdles more than implements to get up there easier. I mean, people are walking up the street instead of walking on the sidewalk, because they don't have to now stop and walk the stairs. And so I think these projects, they are very well intentioned and they are very well meaning, but the end results are setting us back to a point where you're spending money and not getting much benefit from it, because now you've got railings and things on the sidewalk that really weren't necessary for the last 100 years, and nobody seemed to complain, and now it looks, it's overbuilt and underthought. That's my concern. And the guys, it seems like they're coming, they look at the plans, and they're kind of it's piece built. This doesn't work and this angle's off. So everything is made in sort of a sequential manner, as opposed to having sort of the big picture in mind. Like, and Stefan will explain in front of his place, I mean, that's gone through about a dozen configurations trying to resolve that issue. And if it was just left alone, there wouldn't have been any issues. And so that's my concern, because as was just mentioned by Christie, you know, if you start doing Main Street and this same sort of situation starts to occur and that kind of thing, and then 41 Cedar Street's getting demolished and built at the same time, downtown's going to be impassable for a long period of time. And so it seems like the planning board or somebody needs to get involved with the choreography of these things, so we don't keep getting into these boondoggles where we keep trying to back up and fix something that shouldn't have been done in this manner anyway. I mean, I I support this thing, I think it was a great idea, the sidewalk needed to be replaced, but as I say, my driveway is now level, there's no pitch, there was no curb cut on the left side, there's a curb cut on the right side, the drains now are halfway, I had to clear asphalt so they'll drain, but I'm taking up more time, but I really invite everybody to sort of walk it, so you can experience and make these judgments for yourself, because the drawings are nice and the verbiage is nice, but please experience it. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. Anyone else up for question? State your name and address.
Sure. My name is David Rothbard. I actually came here really just to listen and learn. I'm a new owner here in Dobbs Ferry.
Welcome.
Thank you. Now that I see such an intimate crowd, I figured I'd stand up and actually say something. So I've been working with Ed. I actually bought that small building, which was an eyesore for a long time, down on Ashford in the Sawmill, that little red building, at Janet Matola. I'm not sure if you go all the way down Ashford right before you get on southbound. So it's a work in progress, and I'm looking forward to bringing it back to life. When I spoke to Ed about it first, he said, knock it down. That was his first response. When I spoke to this fellow, he said, knock it down. Well, I think it has great potential, and most importantly, I'd like it to not be an eyesore for Dobbs Ferry, and hopefully in a couple of months or sooner, I'd like to present the plan of what I'd like to do in terms of making it look better. For right now, I hope, as you guys pass by, it looks a lot cleaner. I've knocked down all the shrubbery and all the overgrown stuff, so hopefully it'll get a little bit better. It's 398 Ashford. It's the small red building, literally right.
Backs up to the overpass bridge, just before, it's on the southbound entrance to the Sawmill River Parkway.
Yeah. So it's been very helpful, I have to say, and I hopefully look forward to working with you guys.
Great, thanks, David. Welcome.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I have some pictures, if you'd all would like to see them while I speak. You can look at the pictures and have any questions, you certainly will answer. My son will get it to you. Both mine and Bruce's. Bruce's are much more detailed and explain a lot about what I'm going to talk about. Good evening again. My name is Stefan Benven, and I live at 83 Cedar Street. Directly adjacent to the new staircase running across Cedar and Main and Palisade, and directly next to the Cedar Street ski jump, which will be my main focus tonight. If there are any questions or comments during my presentation, please feel free to ask. Last time there were none. When I found out there was going to be a presentation on how the stairway project was going to be completed, I was extremely eager to hear the proposal for the finished product. After hearing the proposal, there's many issues I disagree with. Unfortunately, I did not have time to write them down. Maybe next meeting. But I will continue with what I wrote prior to seeing what was formed today. For me, the project has no way of being complete, as planned or originally envisioned. This project should have been reviewed